So now we're going to put in a flat silver rib, a seal spur body, and a hackle. So the fillet I'm tying here is an archdeacon, and the example in the Farlow's book seems to have quite a wide flat silver tinsel in it. So to start that off with, what we're going to do is trim that into a point, a taper. I'm going to flip the fillet up on my side a little bit and tie that in underneath and towards the far side. So generally hackles are accepted to come from the second turn. So what you can do, generally there's 5 turns of tinsel. So what you can do here is take your tying silk and imagine that it is your rib, and put on where you think the second, with it you'll find out where you think the second turn roughly is going to be in, and this fillet that's turning over somewhere around about there. So what we'll do is put on our seal spur body first. So this fillet calls for a sort of a dark claret seal. So take our tying thread, and you see I was tying this part of the fillet here with white tying thread. I've now swapped over to a black because this is a dark coloured body. So you might see the white thread through that, so we've swapped over here onto the black, so you won't, it'll be compatible with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap a little bit of seal up to this point here where my second rib was going to be. Then we'll tie in our hackle, and then we'll continue the body. So you can see, catch a couple of fibres will allow you to spin this tighter, and then start wrapping our claret dubbing. 1, 2. So hackle wise, I'm going to use this, which is it's like a Fornosy green whales kind of a thing that has been overdyed with a dark claret. I'm using a cape rather than a saddle because these have a taper to the feather, so that the fibres at this end are longer than the fibres at that end. And I'm going to double that hackle. There are other videos that I've done of doubling hackles, so double my hackle. And then I'm going to tie that in there, and then just wrap over it, come back, put some wax on our tying thread, and then spread the seal along that. Just catch it in, spin it that little bit tighter, wrap it on. Do this in sections, don't try and do it all in one go. It's a lot of seal to deal with. This time when we're spinning there was still a little bit of the previous rope, so your fibres intermesh and that helps them to catch and twist. I'm just sort of rolling them over as I go, and that'll tighten them up. Sometimes you have to wrap back over it a little bit. Don't worry about that, as it beds into it. Now, I tend to crowd my heads a little bit when I'm trying not to do that on this one, because we have a hurled head to go on it as well. So, body is wrapped on, a little bit thicker here, tapering a little bit finer towards the front, and this is our hackle ready to wrap. So we take our tinsel, usually try and fold that up with my thumb just to start it, because it's a metal tinsel and it can rip on the first turn, which then means you have to take everything apart, go back to the start. So once we've got one wrap on, the second one, now this is the tip for wrapping on seal. Because seal is thick and sort of soft and pressable, if you just wrap on, generally the wraps will end up sort of all over the place. So what you want to do is wrap it at a further forward angle than you mean to, and then slide it back, and it will bite into the seal and slide back to a point where it catches. Third rib roughly in the middle, or just slightly behind the middle of the fly. Said sliding our ribs further forward than meant to, and allowing them to bed back into the seal. Tie in on the 6th turn coming round. Hopefully we won't cut our tying thread. Trim that off and it should rip. Wax our tying thread. Tie off over that, just to protect the rest of the tying from the sharp edge of your cut tinsel. Now if there's any wraps you don't like the angle of, you can use a bodkin, you can use your nail or something and just change the angle of them, but I think they're pretty okay. So, put our hackle pliers on, fold that first turn down south, and what you want to do is wrap onto the tinsel and let it slide back, let the stock slide back over the edge, the back edge of the tinsel. Now I'm actually rotating my hackle as I go, because that's to allow for the twist that's being put into it naturally by wrapping it, and I want to twist the lying point of the stock to keep my fibres pointing back in a nice sort of sweep. If you just wrap it, they'll start to stick out sideways, and then you'll have to do a load more preening. We're now at the front. Usually what I like to do is put in a turn or two of the body hackle at the front. And across the hackle stock. Trim that off. And just squeeze them. Now, there seems to be a modern convention for pulling all that down underneath. That's not natural, it's not authentic, and I wouldn't do it, because this fly was it was meant to fish with. The second you get that wet, it would just go out again. So just leave it in, just don't tie in an overly bushy hackle, and try and avoid slapping if you can. But that is this section done. So, seals for body, hackling and rib.